Right speech, its profound meaning. In the context of Buddhist teachings, we often speak of right speech, which primarily refers to our spoken language. Language holds immense significance, extending beyond mere spoken words. It encompasses various forms of communication, including written words and other nonverbal cues, all serving to convey and understand meaning. Consider human language. It is incredibly diverse and rich, a complexity largely absent in the animal world. While animals like dogs communicate, a bark, for instance, carries different meanings to dogs depending on the context, such as alerting to a stranger versus expressing pain. Their communication remains relatively simplistic. Human speech, however, is far more intricate. This complexity in human speech likely stems from our more developed intelligence and wisdom compared to animals. Our language allows for high levels of abstraction, enabling us to discuss concepts that are beyond the tangible, such as love, compassion, wisdom, and philosophy. These abstract ideas are uniquely human, transcending the basic communication seen in other species. As human intelligence evolves, so too does the complexity and depth of our spoken language. Languages are shaped by social characteristics, not solely by heredity. For instance, a child of highly intelligent parents, if raised in an isolated community with a simpler linguistic environment, would likely not develop profound or abstract ideas. While their innate intelligence might make them a capable leader within that community, their understanding of a civilized world would be limited. This illustrates how both behavior and language are profoundly influenced by the surrounding society. Cases of feral children raised by animals like wolves or monkeys further underscore this point. When these children were later discovered and brought back to human society, attempts to integrate them largely failed. Their consciousness, behaviors, and communication were entirely shaped by the animal environment, leaving them devoid of human language and social norms. They often perceived humans as alien and struggled to adapt, reinforcing that language and indeed our very being is profoundly shaped by society from an early age. Therefore, to cultivate noble conduct and refined language within any community, we must foster an environment where individuals consistently embody civilized and cultured ways of speaking and behaving. This immersion will naturally shape younger generations to adopt beautiful language and conduct. Conversely, when we observe environments rife with vulgar or abusive language or habitual littering, it highlights the pervasive influence of such behaviors. Affecting change requires a sustained, long-term effort and a heightened sense of responsibility for our words and actions. As human intelligence advanced, methods for recording speech emerged, which we call writing. Western writing, based on the Latin alphabet, is phonetic, where symbols represent sounds, for example, A and B, combining to form BA. In contrast, Chinese writing is ideographic, using characters that convey ideas or images. For example, the ancient character for Father Fu depicted a symbolic age that implied authority and the role of discipline. These are two distinct systems illustrating diverse approaches to conveying meaning through written language. Modern writing systems have evolved into sophisticated grammatical structures. For instance, English, with its standardized grammar, generally minimizes ambiguity, though some sentences can still be open to multiple interpretations. Despite such occasional complexities, written language efficiently conveys precise meaning. Beyond words, gestures, symbols, and art, beyond spoken and written forms, communication also includes gestures and symbols. A clenched fist, for example, can convey aggression or threat. Similarly, a symbol like a heart pierced by an arrow clearly communicates romantic interest, even without words. Many other nonverbal cues serve as forms of communication. A warm smile, for instance, can convey, "I value you," or "I love you very much," adapting to various contexts where direct speech isn't possible. Similarly, a subtle wink can express shared understanding or a playful reminder. These silent forms of communication are equally potent in conveying thoughts and feelings. Other specialized communication methods include Morse code, crucial for transmitting signals like SOS during maritime emergencies, and semaphore code, where flags are used to convey letters and messages. Even a symphony orchestra functions as a form of language. Each instrument plays its part, and their harmonious combination creates a majestic piece of music that conveys profound meaning. Appreciating. Classical music often requires a cultivated intellect, as subtle nuances, like a lingering violin note, carry significant emotional and intellectual weight, which may not be immediately apparent to L listeners. Similarly, wordless music like classical guitar pieces demand a high level of understanding. I once heard a friend play a classical piece and explain its narrative. A deer grazing, encountering a stria. Seeing its reflection. While his interpretation made it easier to grasp, it highlighted that such music requires significant effort from the listener to truly apprehend its unspoken narrative. The purpose of language and its role in Buddhism. Having established the broad definition of language, let's now consider its core purpose: to express our inner selves. Humans, with our intelligence, yearn to communicate our thoughts and feelings. Inability to do so would lead to profound mental anguish. Thus, language allows us to articulate our viewpoints, share our hearts, and disseminate ideas. For instance, when we deeply believe in a beneficial idea, such as the principles of Buddhism that bring peace and liberation, we use language to persuade and encourage others to embrace that viewpoint. Therefore, a primary goal of language is to spread ideas. Language also serves to express emotions. For example, when we love someone, we use language to say, "I love you very much, I value you. Because I love and value you. I miss you so much after 3 days of not seeing you. Do you have anything for me to eat?" Or when we are angry, we express it by saying, "I am very displeased with your way of speaking, or your work, or your attitude recently. You must apologize, or else I'll be very angry." So we use language to express our emotions. Language also serves to establish contact and build relationships. While language has numerous objectives, in the context of the Eightfold Path, particularly right speech, its purpose is distinctly focused: to accumulate merit and foster right concentration. The ultimate aim of the entire Eightfold Path is to cultivate the wisdom leading to enlightenment and liberation through diligent practice. While language serves various purposes, for Buddhists, its primary goal is to accumulate merit through practice. This objective distinguishes our use of language. Previously, without the understanding of right speech, one might have spoken or written carelessly, engaging in gossip, slander, or insults. However, with this newfound understanding, every word must now aim to benefit others, thereby contributing to our own spiritual accumulation. This principle extends to right livelihood and right action. All facets of the path are geared towards establishing merit, leading towards deep meditative states. Achieving profound concentration isn't merely about physical posture or seclusion. It necessitates living a life infused with virtue, constantly generating merit through our words, actions, and the very being. Fundamental principles of right speech. Right speech encompasses the following fundamental principles. 1. No harsh speech. No harsh speech means refraining from abusive language, cursing, and verbal threats. It also includes not demeaning or insulting others, for example, calling someone an animal or a devil. Our ancestors often conveyed profound wisdom through proverbs. A similar sentiment is found in the idea that one should not waste valuable resources on trivial tasks, just as one should not direct harsh words towards wise individuals. This proverb highlights a deep connection between wisdom, morality, and compassion. A truly wise person is also inherently compassionate and ethical. Therefore, we should cultivate a gentle speech, refraining from demeaning others and always speaking with kindness and appreciation. It is disheartening to hear vulgar and abusive language commonly used, even in casual conversation. Such widespread use of profanity reflects a societal moral deficiency. To cultivate a language free of curse words, the Dharma must be widely disseminated. We should bravely offer feedback to those who habitually swear. For example, a Buddhist practitioner once advised a group of taxi drivers using profanity that their language deterred potential customers. Recognizing the impact on their livelihood, the drivers stopped, demonstrating the power of direct, constructive feedback. 2. No lying. No lying. Speaking truthfully is paramount, as truth possesses inherent power and value, typically leading to positive outcomes. Though truth may sometimes initially cause disadvantage, its long-term benefits are profound. For instance, returning excess change demonstrates integrity and builds trust. Similarly, confessing a mistake, even an embarrassing one like eating something not intended for Oyu, for example, an offering embodies courage and inner strength. Admitting wrongdoings, though difficult, purifies negative karma. This aligns with the principle that accepting consequences dissolve accumulated negativity. Such honesty reveals a moral character and earns respect, proving truth's immense value. While generally speaking the truth, we must avoid deception and lying. However, it's crucial to exercise discretion and not reveal every truth, especially if it violates 4 key principles, harming another's dignity, breaking harmony between people, damaging the unity or reputation of the Dharma, or compromising national interests. For instance, knowing a monastic's flaws does not justify spreading rumors, as this undermines the Dharma. Similarly, revealing sensitive national secrets, even unknowingly, can cause immense harm. We must guard against the tendency to gossip or indiscriminately our information, a habit akin to an untrained reporter, which often leads to significant negative consequences despite the temporary satisfaction of appearing knowledgeable. 3. No divisive talk. Another element of right speech, as defined by the precepts, is not speaking divisively. Love is the fabric of life. We live in this world and we crave love. For example, if you are in a crowded tiring place, you might want to retreat to a quiet place, not meet anyone, not love anyone, not have anyone love you, not talk to anyone. You might think that is peaceful and comfortable. No. When you retreat to a place where it is just you, suddenly you feel uncomfortable, annoyed, lonely. Do you know why? Because there is a lack of love, a lack of interaction and connection between people. Least to exchange a kind word. That is so necessary as eating, drinking, breathing. Without friends, you would die immediately. Therefore, we know that people in this world need love. So, never break the love between people. If you know people love each other, you should be happy about it. Do not break that love between people. How do you do it? You go behind their backs and say things about one of them to the other. That makes them hate each other. And then what happens to you? You will be dealt with later. A prevalent and detrimental habit is speaking ill of others, often fueled by a desire to appear knowledgeable or superior. This sickness of indiscriminate reporting often violates the principles of not harming dignity, not sowing division, not bringing shame to the Dharma, and not harming national interests. We must exercise caution with our words, recognizing that casual gossip can inflict sign if it can harm. Instead of criticizing, we should focus on praising others. Sadly, this tendency to speak ill of others is observed in many communities, even among those practicing the Dharma. Therefore, recognizing right speech, we must diligently work to overcome this weakness. 4. No boasting. Another aspect of right speech is not speaking boastfully. Within the precepts, we have already discussed boasting, which means praising your own good qualities or exaggerating them to impress others. Boasting means our mind wants to gain admiration from others. Because we want others to admire us, we have to brag and boast. When we want others to admire us, the opposite usually happens. People look down on us and dislike us. This is cause and effect. Therefore, a boastful person might initially gain a few admirers, but in the long run, they usually only receive others' dislike and disdain. Conversely, a humble person who speaks little about themselves but accomplishes much will be greatly loved by others. We just want to love and respect others, not to have others love and respect us. We only want to admire and respect others, not to have others admire or respect us. Such a person accumulates extremely great merit. Wherever they go, people will love and cherish them. Remember this. When we live this life, we should have a heart that always loves and respects others. Love and respect whoever you can. But in your heart, do not expect others to love and respect you. If you have the desire for others to love and respect you, then later you will suffer severe karmic retribution. Suddenly you will fall into a state of humiliation, being looked down on by others. So, people who live silently and steadfastly in a crowd are likely to have good fortune and be respected by others. But anyone who seeks attention in a crowd by gestures or words, we know they have a problem, a tendency to show off, to seek attention and admiration from those around them. That kind of mind is a sick mind. For us Buddhists, we do not demand that from others. Instead, we must demand from ourselves. We must care about others, pay attention to others, respect others. So, we must look deeply into our own souls. This is something difficult to judge from the outside. You must Why deeply and subtly look straight into your own soul and see if you want others to pay attention to you, care about you, love you, or if you want to care about, love, and pay attention to others. Yo, you must strive to completely reverse this. This is where merit lies in the heart, whether you succeed or not. This is where good and bad karma are created. We must try to be profound here. In the precepts, right speech also strictly prohibits using words to deceive or harm others. This is considered the gravest verbal transgression. For instance, enticing individuals with false promises of work only to sell them into forced labor constitutes an extremely severe sin. Similarly, using manipulative words to solicit funds for fraudulent businesses is a grave offense. We must be highly vigilant against such deceptive speech. 5. No trivial talk. Another facet of right speech is avoiding idle talk, or hailwan in Buddhist terminology, which refers to frivolous or senseless speech. Noble conduct necessitates speaking with propriety and dignity. The Buddha consistently emphasized that his disciples should refrain from uttering unnecessary, meaningless, or reckless words, underscoring the importance of careful speech. Regarding hailwan, later patriarchs explained it further. Don't speak useless words that make others troubled listening to you without gaining any good or benefit. That is also considered hailwan. So, some people have a habit of talking a lot, but their words are empty. The listeners gain nothing beneficial, they waste time, and their minds become exhausted. This is also classified as hailwan, a type of error in practicing right speech. Meaningful humor, however, is often a sign of wisdom. It can lighten a dharma lecture or a conversation, making it more engaging and enjoyable. Humorous individuals are typically intelligent, as humor often requires a keen understanding of human nature and situations. Humor often subtly satirizes a bad habit or a minor flaw. For instance, a humorous anecdote I heard involved a husband who would always close the door when his wife practiced singing. When asked why, he humorously replied, "I thought someone was beating you to death," implying her singing was unpleasant. This illustrates how humor can gently point out imperfections. Having explored the various aspects of right speech, let's now turn to wrong speech, or tangu, literally deviant speech. This term carries a much heavier connotation than merely wrong, implying RDS that distort truth, undermine morality, and inflict serious harm. Violating this aspect incurs a grave sin. The grave sins of wrong speech. One of the most serious forms of wrong speech is distorting the Dharma. Why? Because when someone stands up to teach the Dharma, they usually have some affinity or merit that allows them to be elected to, rare, listened to, and admired by many. People trust them, and whatever they say, people tend to accept easily. But if, while teaching the Dharma, they include many things that are wrong and contrary to the Dharma, then all those who accept those words, who adopt those words, who practice based on them, their lives will be shattered. Their merit will not increase, and they might even suffer negative karmic retribution. Such a lecturer incurs a very heavy sin. For example, if we talk about harsh speech, cursing people is a sin, but it is a moderate sin. But a person who sits dignifiedly on the Dharma seat, teaching the Dharma, and teaches incorrectly, that is an extremely grave sin. Usually when we see a person wearing shorts and no shirt standing there swearing, we think they are ill-mannered. But a person sitting on the Dharma seat teaching the Dha Arme, we respect them immensely. However, the person in shorts and no shirt who swears commits a lesser sin than the person in beautiful robes on the Dharma seat who teaches the Dharma incorrectly. And when you go to hell, you will find the person in shorts there, and you will find the Dharma lecturer also in hell for teaching wrongly. Is not that scary? It is not easy, because they destroy people. These souls, they destroy people's lives. Swearing does not destroy souls. Swearing might make people hate you, which could lead to them hurting you. But distorting the Dharma as a lecturer can cause harm to an entire generation. What constitutes distorting the Dharma? 1. Denying cause and effect, or misinterpreting cause and effect. First, denying or misinterpreting the law of cause and effect karma incurs a very heavy sin. The Dharma is fundamentally built upon this principle. Denying it is a grave transgression. For instance, He story of a venerable monk who mistakenly taught, an enlightened person is no longer subject to cause and effect, led to him suffering 500 karmic rebirths as a fox, an extreme example of the consequences of distorting this fundamental truth. Misinterpreting cause and effect can also lead to negative karma. For instance, if asked how to attain beauty, one might mistakenly answer by offering flowers to the Buddha. While offering flowers is meritorious, it's an incomplete understanding. True beauty arises from a deeper, more holistic accumulation of merit. Living a virtuous life, cultivating a kind heart, and being loving and helpful to others. A beautiful appearance intertwined with good karma naturally attracts love, cooperation, and opportunities. To merely focus on external rituals like offering flowers without cultivating inner virtue distorts the Dharma and hinders genuine spiritual progress. 2. Clinging to emptiness, Chap Kong. Clinging to emptiness, Chap Kong refers to misinterpreting the Buddhist concept of emptiness as nihilism, believing everything is empty or meaningless. This dangerous misconception leads individuals to deny cause and effect, disregard ethical compassion, and adopt a passive, lazy, and ultimately useless approach to life. Such a practitioner, believing everything is empty, sees no need to accumulate merit or engage in virtuous actions, effectively becoming a burden to society. Historically, the widespread misinterpretation of emptiness has led to periods of decline in the Dharma. As an ancient patriarch wisely stated, better to cling to existence like a mountain than to cling to emptiness like a mustard seed, emphasizing that it is safer to believe in cause and effect and strive to create merit than to fall into the pitfalls of nihilistic emptiness. To counter this, it is crucial to present the true meaning of emptiness from both Theravada and Mahayana perspectives, ensuring a complete and accurate understanding that does not lead to clinging to emptiness. 3. Destroying reverence for the Buddha. Another form of wrong speech involves destroying reverence for the Buddha. Just as a nation draws strength from the people's reverence for its leaders, the Dharma flourishes when its followers hold profound respect for the Buddha, its founder. This is a fundamental psychological prerequisite. Absolute reverence for the Buddha is essential for the Dharma to remain strong and vibrant. Conversely, the most effective way to weaken the Dharma is to undermine this reverence. Lecturers who discourage veneration or prostration to the Buddha, asserting the Buddha is only in your heart, are, in fact, destroying the Dharma. Such poison-mouthed individuals, though appearing profound, commit a grave error of wrong speech. This is akin to one of the 5 heinous crimes Panka Anantarya. Kama in Buddhism, which refers to acts of extreme negative karma. Destroying people's faith in the Buddha is a malicious act that directly contributes to the decline of the Dharma, weakening its foundation and the practitioner's resolve. 4. Praising your own practice and criticizing others. Praising your own practice and criticizing others' practices is also a form of wrong speech. Currently, in our Dharma, there are many different practices. We use currently because in the Buddha's this was not an issue. In the Buddha's time, all the practices the Buddha taught were unified, consistent, and complementary. There was no such serious division of practices as there is now. But it is already too divided, and we are making a second mistake, only loving our own practice, praising our own practice, and criticizing other practices, causing even more division in the Dharma. His is also a form of wrong speech, a mistake. In the modern Dharma, with its various schools, unity is paramount. Our duty is to bridge these divisions. For instance, instead of emphasizing differences, we should highlight commonalities, such as noting that Pure Land practice reciting Buddha's name can resonate with Zen meditation, fostering a sense of harmony. Encouraging a practitioner of Zen to also engage in Buddha name recitation promotes peace of mind and strengthens connection through reverence for the Buddha. Dividing practitioners by school, this person is Zen, that person is Pure Land, is a disaster, a form of wrong speech that incurs heavy negative karma. The practice of right speech. Now let's talk about the practice of right speech. 1. Don't annoy others. First, our words should never upset others. While seemingly simple, this is challenging. Careless speech, even if unintended, can cause sadness, anger, or hatred, incurring negative karma and failing. Right speech. Therefore, before speaking, we must strive to anticipate the listener's reaction. For example, if you offer someone food you've saved, consider if they actually like it or if the timing is appropriate. This practice of forethought is crucial. As an ancient saying wisely notes, cows are cheap, but words are priceless. This emphasizes the profound value of our speech. We must choose our words with utmost care, aiming to please and benefit The listener anticipating their response before we speak. 2. Knowing when to be silent. There's something very special that's also called right speech, being silent. When we are silent at the right moment, that is also right speech. That is also a practice. At that moment, everyone needs you to be silent, but you keep talking and talking. What happens? It annoys people greatly. There are times when you must be silent, even if what you have to say is very good. Please just be silent. Wait a bit longer to speak. But if it's time to be silent, you must be silent. Knowing when to be silent is also right speech, and knowing how to control yourself means you are a wise person. But anyone who constantly talks and talks is committing wrong speech. Talking too much is also a fault because you make others listen too much, which is very tiring. Have you met people who talk a lot? And what? Do you truly appreciate them? Your presence makes our family even more chaotic. We sincerely appreciate you. You cannot stand it when they talk on and on. In the beginning, when you meet you people, they talk well and you enjoy it. But when they realize they talk well, they talk constantly and eventually you become afraid and try to avoid them. Therefore, remember this. For example, if you speak well and people praise you for it at that very moment, you must know how to be silent. Practice being silent immediately. If you get carried away and talk more, one day everyone will leave from you. So, if you arrive somewhere and people scatter like a desert, you should reevaluate. Is it because you talk too much? Because if so, you arrive and everyone is gone. Not a single person. And be careful, it might be due to your words. 3. Basic courtesy and etiquette. Regarding basic civil and historical manners, for example, when you bother someone, you must apologize. When you receive help from someone, even just a kind word, you must say thank you. And do not criticize or blame others. Be careful with this. Praise is easy, but criticism is difficult because only those with a very high level of practice and strong moral fortitude can remain unaffected by criticism, whether it's much or little. Most people, when they hear criticism, feel very uncomfortable and sad. So, if you constantly criticize, you are constantly bringing sadness into this life. Later, life will use that sadness to harm you, and your life will be utterly miserable. Be careful. Therefore, we should praise more often. Praise should be sincere, not just for show but genuine. Praise is a necessary encouragement for others to continue developing their good qualities. For example, when you meet someone who is dignified and humble, praising that will strengthen their resolve to continue on their path. Or when you see someone who helps others and does good deeds, praising them will give them a little joy in their hearts so they can keep moving forward and continue doing good things. As for the world, that kind of praise is good. The only caveat lies with the recipient of praise. If praised, one must diligently maintain a humble heart and avoid conceit, as inflated ego can lead to negative consequences. While the praise accumulates merit, the praised must strive to remain grounded. According to right speech, we are encouraged to praise, but those who receive it bear the responsibility of maintaining humility to avoid rating negative karma. 4. 3 ways to express Dharma principles. There are 3 ways to express the Dharma. These 3 ways are clear. The first way to express the Dharma is by speaking about that Dharma. The second way to express the Dharma is by acting according to that Dharma. And the third way to express the Dharma is also speaking, but speaking to create a result like that Dharma. For example, these are 3 ways to express the Dharma. For example, if we talk about the Dharma of compassion, the first way to express compassion is by using words to talk about compassion. For example, we talk about the Buddha's compassion, saying that the Buddha taught us to love all sentient beings, to love those around us, those who have helped us, strangers, even enemies, and even sentient beings we cannot see but only know in thought. That is expressing the Dharma with words. The second way to express the Dharma of compassion is through action. Instead of just talking about love, you act. What do? You help others. When you see someone suffering, you help them. So the act of helping others to gain education, to advance, to overcome suffering, that is the manifestation of the Dharma of compassion. You do not talk about compassion, but you practice compassion. S is also a way of expressing the Dharma. And the third way is words again, but instead of talking about love, you do not talk about the Dharma of compassion, but your way of speaking helps people to succeed in life and in their practice. 4. Example, someone needs help. You go and talk to another person saying, I see that Mr. A is a very good person. Currently, he lacks this and needs that. Please help him. So that is just words. But are those words compassionate? Yes, they are compassionate. Do those words explain the Dharma of compassion? No, not directly. But they are very compassionate. So those are the 3 ways to express the Dharma. Have we grasped them? Or let's take an example about the Dharma of patience. The first way is to explain and present the Dharma of patience. We say this: a person who practices patience must keep their mind undisturbed, and others curse them, beat them, humiliate them, or even kill them. That is explaining the Dharma of patience. The second way is to act with patience. You do not say anything, but if someone slaps you, what do? You smile. So that is not talking about patience, but actually practicing the Dharma of patience. And the third way is, for example, if someone slanders you or speaks ill of you. Why? Oh, you talk about that person to others, but you still speak with no ill will, still lovingly, still praising the person who slandered or humiliated you. Those words are words of patience, right? You are not angry, so you can speak well of someone who treated you badly. That is the language of patience. Do you agree? Let's take an example of the Dharma of courage. The first way is to explain and present courage. We say this: a courageous person is someone who is not afraid, who dares to enter dangerous situations, to do good things. It must be good things, not just courageous things. If you do bad things, what is that called? It is also daring to enter dangerous situations to do something, but if you do something good, it is called courage. If you do something bad, it is called recklessness. So we must be courageous, not reckless. For example, there is a fire. You see children crying inside. You are afraid, but a person who is both wise and courageous will grab a wet blanket, cover themselves, and run through the fire to find where the child's crying is coming from and bring them out. That is a courageous act, not talking about courage but doing a courageous act. And the third way is the speech of courage. For example, someone knows about the evil of society. There are bad people, powerful forces. This person dares to fight them through newspaper articles, dares to speak up to gain public support and fight against the evil rampant in society. Such a person could easily die, easily lose their life because the evil forces have money and power and would kill them immediately. But they dare to speak, unafraid of danger. That is the speech of courage. It is like an action saving someone. So, those are the 3 ways to express the Dharma. So, among these 3 ways of expressing the Dharma, 1 involves action and 2 involves speech. As Buddhist practitioners, we must be able to do all 3. We must be good at all 3 ways of expressing the Dharma. For example, if someone asks about the Dharma of compassion, we must know how to answer, explain, and present it clearly. But in our lives, we must genuinely perform many acts of compassion, loving, and helping others. And in our words, when we are not speaking about the Dharma, we only speak words that bring benefit to others. That is the speech of compassion. And as Buddhist practitioners, whether lay or monastic, we must be proficient, skilled, and excellent at all 3 ways of expressing the Dharma. Is that clear? The most important thing in the Eightfold Path is that our words must benefit others to create merit. Otherwise, if our words do not benefit the listener, we do not gain merit. In the Eightfold Path, we are clearly instructed, practicing right speech means every word spoken must create merit. Do not speak unless it creates merit. That is practicing right speech. So, have you ever done that before? Probably not, right? That is because we did not know about practicing right speech in the Eightfold Path before. But from now on, having learned right speech in the Eightfold Path, we remember this as standard. Ensure that the words spoken bring benefit to others. If words spoken do not benefit others, then be silent. Silence is practicing right speech at that moment. And when it is necessary to speak for benefit, then we must speak. That is also right speech. Remember that. We must strive so that whatever we say or do, the Dharma is present in this life. When people around us see how we live and hear how we speak, they gradually become good people. That is right speech. In the Eightfold Path, what we do. But if you want to spread the Dharma, you must have great virtue. Only then will people be convinced. A person who lacks virtue, who uses only the first way of expressing the Dharma, which is explaining the Dharma, it is difficult. Why? Because it requires that person to have virtue. Only with virtue will people believe you. For example, you explain about morality, about compassion, about being undisturbed, about enlightenment and liberation. But if you lack virtue, people will not believe you. They will see you as ordinary, and when you talk about profound dharma, they will hate you, they will be annoyed. It is not good. So, the first way requires great virtue. But the other two ways where you manifest it are easier to do. That is what we need to focus on from now on. For example, if you want to explain the Dharma to others, to your relatives, you must be careful about your virtue. If it is time to speak about the Dharma, and you feel you do not have enough virtue, you must look to the Buddha, pray for the Buddha's blessing, and then present it. Otherwise, it will only annoy people and make them look down on you, and you will also suffer consequences due to the fault of boasting. We also discussed that words require little effort but create more merit or more sin than manual labor. For example, if you want to create a sin, you go and hit someone, and then later you get hit back. That is a sin, but it is a normal sin. But if you use words to slander someone, causing them to lose their dignity, their reputation, their opportunities, their love, then your sin will be much heavier. So, words often create heavier sins than actions. Or sometimes words can bring much more merit than actions. Words are very important. So, we must be careful about our words, our language, the songs and the works we spread, because they create great effects in this life. Great people or entrepreneurs with their sweet words and persuasion can change people's perceptions, even the culture of the world. For example, if people used to revere kings, but after hearing their words, they no longer revere kings but revere the people. So, those who are skilled in persuasion can change the culture of the entire world. To quantify, encouraging others to do good may earn about a quarter of the merit generated by their action. For example, if you inspire someone to donate to the poor, you share a significant portion of their merit. Furthermore, praising others for their good deeds, even after the fact, accrues about a tenth of their merit. This is the merit of rejoicing in others' virtues. To cultivate this, we commit to memory stories of at least 10 famous saints and great individuals. Recounting these tales and praising their lives inspires admiration in others, thereby generating merit for ourselves. This highlights how easily words can create either immense merit or negative karma, underscoring the importance of diligently practicing right speech by memorizing and sharing inspiring narratives. When we talk to people, we must be careful to avoid complicated or difficult to understand ways of speaking that make listeners think hard or get bored or fall asleep. That is not right speech. Right speech means we must speak in a way that the listener clearly understands, so they are comfortable, do not have to think too much, and still understand clearly. That is also right speech. The relationship between words and thoughts. The relationship between thought and speech is direct. A good inner mind naturally produces good words. Thus, cultivating right thought is essential to ensure our words are gentle, kind, and genuine, not superficial or deceitful. While some may attempt to speak virtuously despite a negative inner state, their true nature will eventually be revealed, perhaps after years, or even after their passing. The most reliable path to authentic speech is to purify our inner mind through right thought. Your attitude when speaking is also a form of language. For example, if you meet someone at home for a meal and say, "Please eat," but your attitude tells them whether you really want them to eat or not. For example, if you invite them warmly and sincerely, they know they can eat. But if you are cold as ice when you say, "Eat rice," then the relationship between words and actions. Sometimes words and actions are the same. Sometimes words are more than actions. Sometimes words are less than actions. Sometimes words are spoken but actions are not taken, right? These are the relationships. For example, a person who talks about compassion but is very compassionate. Their words and actions are the same. Sometimes they talk more than they do, meaning they talk a lot about how much they love you, but in reality, their heart does not love you that much. Sometimes they talk less than they do, meaning some people do not bother to speak. But they silently do a lot. These are admirable people because the person who controls their words and acts without others knowing is a person of strong character and inner strength. This is summit we should practice. That is, speak little and do much. Hide the things you do. Do not talk much. Or speaking without acting. This is the worst. Just bragging without doing anything. Speaking prematurely can hinder action. For example, announcing grand aspirations like becoming a billionaire before the hard work is done is counterproductive. It is often better to act first than speak. However, encouraging others to pursue virtuous endeavors can also sow seeds for one's own future success. For instance, if you admire Zen meditation but struggle with it, consistently encourage others to attend retreats can, over time, cultivate the conditions for your own practice to flourish. By inspiring good in others, you indirectly create opportunities for your own spiritual growth. Language in music and poetry. For example, in poetry, one is constrained by rules of rhyme and rhythm, making it difficult. Therefore, each word, each phrase chosen for a poem must be selected much more carefully than in prose. A song is even 100 times more constrained than a poem because each note dictates how the word must sound. So, choosing a word for a song is very difficult. But here is the thing, despite the difficulty, many people still love to write love poems and love songs. The effort invested in artistic expression, such as music and poetry, is considerable. Yet, it is disheartening to see immense effort poured into trivial or fleeting themes like ephemeral romances in popular songs. As Buddhists, we must understand that art should be infused with Dharma principles. Imagine if the same dedication were applied to composing songs about compassion or universal love. The impact would be profoundly more valuable and worthwhile. Artists, therefore, have a responsibility to imbue their work with an educational purpose, ensuring that those who enjoy art also gain spiritual benefit rather than merely momentary amusement. Another point. Now that scientific and technological advancements have progressed, we, as Buddhist practitioners, must know how to utilize scientific and technological means to practice right speech. That is, when we speak words of Dharma, do not just stand and shout without a microphone. We must know how to use microphones, amplifiers. If there is a DVD player, we must know how to use it. If there are recording devices, we must know how to use them so that our right speech can be spread more widely and powerfully. Temples should also do this. They should not be outdated or conservative. Time is running out. In conclusion, when we practice right speech, we must speak words that benefit and beautify life. If our words do not benefit others, do not benefit or beautify life, then do not speak. Remember that. A single flower may adorn a lake, enriching life. So too, every word we utter can be a fresh blossom. Just as humanity yearns for light in darkness, so does life crave countless words of love. In moments of bitterness and sorrow, even a few kind words, carried on 1,000 winds, can bring immense comfort. Revisiting a point on right speech, encouraging others to do good can accrue significant merit for ourselves. Many meaningful Buddhist activities, such as contributing to the construction of practice spaces or supporting Dharma centers, offer opportunities to inspire generosity in others. These efforts, driven by right speech, foster merit and create conducive environments for spiritual practice. We are nearing the significant Dharma ceremony of the Buddha's Enlightenment Day. The Enlightenment Day, for us, is truly the new year of Buddhism, truly the new year of humanity. Why? Because on the night of the Buddha's enlightenment, absolute truth suddenly arose in the soul of a human being in this world. The light of enlightenment burst forth. From that moment, darkness slowly retreated and light gradually spread. That was the true dawn of humanity. The day the Buddha attained enlightenment is the dawn of humanity. That is the day we should truly honor, praise, celebrate, and perform ceremonies. That is truly important. And we want everyone to understand the important meaning of the Enlightenment Day. We often chant sutras about the Buddha's birthday, and we gain the merit of being celebrated on our birthdays. But if we do not honor the Enlightenment Day, then we will not receive the merit of attaining enlightenment. Remember that. If we do not honor the Buddha's Enlightenment Day, then later we will attain enlightenment. But if we despise the Enlightenment Day, it means that in our hearts we do not believe in the possibility of attaining enlightenment. Therefore, we must consider the Enlightenment Day a very important holiday in Buddhism. It is a more important holiday than all other holidays. We must honor it and make this holiday a great joy for everyone. On that day, we must wear beautiful clothes, visit each other, exchange gifts, and send each other the best wishes. What are the best wishes? During traditional New Year celebrations, people commonly exchange wishes for prosperity, health, and good fortune. However, the most profound wish for a Buddhist on Enlightenment Day is, may you att. On enlightenment, this is the noblest aspiration. Therefore, on this sacred day, let us greet each other with palms joined and the sincere wish, may you attain enlightenment. With this I conclude the lecture on right speech, wishing all monks and lay practitioners enlightenment. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Questions and answers. Divine help. Question. A Buddhist text states that our achievements are solely due to individual effort, not divine blessings. This seems to conflict with the idea of receiving blessings from the Buddha. How shall this be understood? Response. There is a profound connection between bodhisattvas, Buddhas, and us, and the law of cause and effect is not rigidly deterministic. Just as we naturally offer help to others in this life, our karmic affinity allows us to receive the Buddha's blessings. This is not an exception to karma but an integral part of its dynamic interplay. Enlightenment Day observance. Question. Should the Enlightenment Day be observed on its traditional date, the 8th day of the 12th lunar month, or on a convenient weekend for broader participation? Response. While the 8th day of the 12th lunar month is traditional, celebrating on a Sunday near that date can allow more people to participate, balancing tradition with practical accessibility. Cremation and ashes. Question. Is it appropriate to cremate a body and scatter the ashes from a mountain or into the sea? Response. While such practices may be viewed as romantic, their appropriateness depends on individual beliefs and cultural contexts rather than a fixed Buddhist directive. Offerings for the deceased. Question. Is it customary or beneficial to burn paper money, clothes, or other paper offerings for the deceased? Response. The practice of burning paper offerings for the deceased, while common in some cultures, is not the most precise application of the law of cause and effect. A more effective approach is to perform virtuous acts such as donating clothes to temples or the poor and then sincerely dedicating the merit from these actions to the deceased, praying that they receive warmth and clothing in the afterlife. Similarly, to benefit a deceased relative in other ways, one can offer items for Dharma activities and dedicate the merit to them. Monastic vows and future lives. Question. If I wish in this life to encounter the Dharma and become a monastic in my next life, will this wish be fulfilled if I am fortunate enough to be reborn as a human? Response. Yes, such a vow, if sincere, significantly increases the likelihood of becoming a monastic in a future life. However, a vow alone is not sufficient. It must be supported by numerous merit deeds that create the necessary conditions for its fulfillment. Creating merit without money. Question. What methods can help individuals with limited financial means to create merit and transform past karma without making monetary offerings? Response. The Buddha once answered this question. No one is so poor that they cannot give a grain of rice to an ant. Therefore, if you are poor, you can still perform small acts of merit within your limited means. Do not do nothing. Do not wait until you are rich. Wherever you are, create merit there. Your merit will gradually increase. There are many acts of merit that do not require money, such as what we just discussed. Using words to encourage others to help, praising others, encouraging good deeds. These are also acts of merit through words. Sleep paralysis. Question. I frequently experience sleep paralysis, mada, in Vietnamese, where I am conscious but unable to move or speak. How can I alleviate this? Response. Sleep paralysis is often attributed to the presence of spirits vong or restless spirits in certain environments. Their energy can paralyze your nervous system, causing awareness without phy. Cycle control. This can indicate insufficient accumulated merit, which makes one more susceptible to their influence. The key is not to fear or hate these spirits, as they are also sentient beings. Irving of compassion. To overcome this, cultivate merit through practice, prostrate to the Buddha, visualize universal love and compassion, and cultivate humility. By consistently practicing these Tuesday, your spiritual power will increase, and such disturbances will naturally cease. Even experienced practitioners who once faced similar issues found relief through diligent practice. Chanting while lying down. Question. Is it considered unskillful or disrespectful to chant the Amitabha Sutra while lying down before sleep? Response. While not inherently disrespectful, chanting while lying down often leads to drowsiness, making sustained focus difficult. Vegetarianism and eggs. Question. As a vegetarian, can I consume chicken eggs? Response: yes, unfertilized chicken eggs are generally considered acceptable for vegetarians as they do not contain a developing embryo. Chanting rosary in bed. Question: is it permissible to use an Amitabha rosary while lying in bed? Response: yes, it is permissible to chant while lying down, perhaps on your right side. There are no strict prohibitions against it. Simple Buddha worship. Question: if I lack the means for daily formal Buddha worship, is it acceptable to simply light 3 incense sticks on a modest table? Response: yes, it is perfectly fine. The sutras do not require you to be rich. So whatever your circumstances allow, that is good. There is no problem. There is no requirement for wealth. As long as your heart always has respect for the Buddha and love for others, that is good. Visions during practice. Question: during meditation or chanting, I sometimes experience visions of light or bodhisattvas/Amitabha Buddha even when not intentionally seeking them. While these visions can be vivid, I find myself either unable to sustain them or unable to dismiss them. Are these experiences beneficial or problematic, and how should I approach them? Response: such visions, while generally positive as a sign of progress, also present a potential pitfall. Like external praise for good deeds, they can lead to conceit or attachment. Visions can vary. Some may be true blessings of a radiant Buddha, signifying positive karmic resonance, while others might be mere illusions or even distracting phenomena. The most beneficial approach is to avoid clinging to any visual or sensory experiences during practice. Cultivate a heart filled with formless love and reverence for the Buddha, releasing any attachment to these images as soon as they arise. Non-attachment to such phenomena is the safest path to true spiritual development, ensuring your practice remains grounded in genuine virtue rather than fleeting perceptions.